Salve. My name is Daniel Peterson. I'm the co-founder of Legentibus, and today I wanted to give you an update about what we've been up to lately. Especially, I want to talk about Auda and the Legentibus immersion course. So, if you're not familiar with this course, so it's our main course for beginners, and in it there is a novel, which is called Auda. Now, it's been a while since we published the last chapter, maybe 2 months, something like that. But we have not stopped working on it. So, first, this story started out in December last year. I just wanted to write a short story. And that short story turned into another chapter and another chapter. And then I figured, I think there's a story here to be told. And I had some vague idea where it was going, but not a clear idea. And I just wrote chapter after chapter. Now, for the last couple of months, I've been plotting out the whole novel and deciding where the story will go and working out the character arc for each protagonist and antagonist to make sure it all fits together nicely. It's going to be a great adventure novel with a lot of action and fun twists, I hope. But mainly it will teach Latin and also introduce Roman culture and history and also Germanic and other aspects. But I've realized now that I want to augment it. I want to make it bigger. So what I want to do now, and what I'm working on now, is some slight rewrites to the chapters we've already published, but mainly creating additional materials for each chapter. So these will be dialogues and other reading materials that work and reinforce the vocabulary and the syntax in each chapter, while also being fun and actually teaching something else other than the language. And so each chapter will have the story part, but also some additional dialogues, and it's going to be a different book, I think. It's going to be fun. That's really important, I think, that learning Latin is fun and and not too much of a drag. So I'm working on those additions to this main story. Now the question is, when will that be available? Well, it's taken a lot of time to do the preliminary research, because what I want to do is make sure that everything is historically accurate. Now, in the story, here's a little spoiler. The characters will go on a journey for some reason, and they will, on their journey, go to certain Roman cities and towns and Germanic places. And I want to be able to describe everything in a historically accurate and plausible manner. And also make sure that everything actually was there. So the story takes place in AD 95. And I want to make sure that, for instance, in the Forum Romanum, a lot of the temples there, I mean, the whole Forum Romanum, suffered so many reconstructions, destructions, reconstructions, restorations. I want to make sure that when my characters, perhaps, go there, that what they see is actually what was there, or plausibly there, in AD 95. So I'm doing a lot of research on the archaeological aspect, make sure that these parts were there so they can look at them, talk about them, and go around them and maybe interact with them. This proved to be somewhat more intense and difficult than I thought. But then I found this great book I want to show you guys. So it's called the Atlas of Ancient Rome. And now it's not a map really, but it's a detailed history. Oh, and it's by Andrea Carandini. So it's a very detailed history of all the main places of Rome, and you can get a chronological history of certain places. And there are lots and lots of nice pictures, so you can get a clear idea what places look like. And there are also some nice illustrations. Another author or work that I've really found helpful is because I want to see how things might have looked and make sure that what I describe in the story, what the characters interact with, is plausible, and so that the world feels real. So I'm working my way through looking at these great books by Jean-Claude Golvin. So there's Voyage sur la Méditerranée romaine. And there are really detailed descriptions of boats, because they're going to be on different types of boats. They're going to know how would the boat have functioned, how would it have been propelled, what's the type of, how would the hull look like, what would it look like, how fast, where would they have been. And so this book is really helpful, and it also has this really nice illustrations, you can see. And he has a whole suite of books. Here's another one, Pérégrinations dans l'Empire Romain. And also, again, so you can look at what would a fort in Germania have looked like in AD 95. So you can get more or less an idea. Of course, maybe there are some liberties taken there, so I'm working with different materials to make sure that it's accurate. So that's going to that takes a lot of time, but we're getting there. So when will we be publishing the next sequence of chapters? Well, first we will be updating the whole suite of chapters we already have published, but adding all these extra materials. So there's going to be a lot more materials for each chapter, and that builds it out and makes it feel really much more immersive, so that you get much more repetition and reinforcement of all the vocabulary and syntax, while also learning more stuff and building out the world. So when? Well, I hope we can finish these 7 chapters within a couple of months with all the new materials and illustrations. So everything is going to have, of course, translation, interlinear translation, so you can look up each word and get the exact definition of that word in that meaning, in that sentence. But also we want to have lots of illustrations, and those take time. Amelie, my dear Amelie, makes all the illustrations and colors them. I think they're very nice, but they take time. So we will also have lots of commentary, and all this taken together and recorded, so audio recordings, of course. It will take some time, but we'll keep you up to date. I'll make sure to let you know much more often where we are in this work. And well, I want to just thank everyone for the nice emails and messages we've gotten about Auda, about the story, about the course and the app overall. It means a lot. It really helps us continue working through every possible difficulty. But really appreciate everything. Gratias vobis agimus tantos.